Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an experience like no other. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for The Mary D. Show, where the ordinary meets the extraordinary. The Mary D. Show brings you powerful insights and inspiring stories from a diverse range of guests. Join our incredible host, Mary D. Welch, as she sits down with thought leaders, business owners, and changemakers, sharing their journeys and successes. From career professionals and entrepreneurs to educators and beauty advisors, Mary D. Welch interviews sports figures and health enthusiasts, offering a platform for extraordinary voices. Explore the world of extraordinary people and places in business and finance, homes and real estate, beauty and wellness, education and empowerment, sports and health, and more. Want to be a guest on the show? Call 619-669-8603 or email marydwelch.com. Visit www.marydwelch.com to learn more.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mary D. Show. For those of you that have never been here before, welcome to the show. And if you have, I have super fans. I have fans that are here every week, and one is definitely our beautiful niece, Jazzy. Hi, Jazzy in Atlanta. And the other one is, now she may not think she's beautiful, but she is. She's gorgeous. And that is Dr. Victoria. Dr. Victoria, how are you? I'm always happy to see you, Dr. Victoria. Anytime you take the time, I always feel honored. I'm just honored for you to be here. So just so you know, it really means a lot for you to be here. I'd like to say hi to our live viewers. Hi, live viewers. And then hi to our replay viewers. Hi, replay viewers. All of you, I can tell you, at the end of the show, I don't always look. I'll be honest. I don't. And then I'll go back in a couple of weeks and I see it was hundreds of people. I'm like, I don't really see you guys unless you make a comment. If you don't make a comment, then I really don't see you. But if you make a comment, then I know that you're there. But I know you're there because we have the reels and the show is still broadcast on YouTube, Facebook. And I'm just honored. Thank you. I know, almost forgot. Hi, Oliver. Hi, babe. Our executive producer, he's in the background. Those of you know Oliver, he's back there. You may not see him, but he's there. I promise. You see him, he'll put a comment up. He'll let you guys know that he's still around. You may not know he is, but he is. He's right there. So thank you for all coming to the show today. I am too excited. Now, today, anytime you see one-on-one, just so everybody knows, when you see one-on-one, that's you and me. We're the one-on-one. So anytime you see that, just know that's what that means. And I like it. I like it when I have just the two. I know I love it when we have guests too. Just don't everybody. I just know. I love having guests, but I love every time I can talk to you and I get your opinion about things and your feedback. All of that matters. All of it matters. And I can tell you today, we're going to talk about something. It's not the hot topic of the day. I can tell you that now, but it is a real topic. Let me say that to you. It is a very real topic because we don't like to talk about it. One thing we hate to talk about, and that's death. We don't like to talk about that. We don't like to talk about anything that sounds negative, even though, to be honest, I don't know if we think that death is negative or that we don't understand it. And I think that's why that's negative. But that's not what the topic is. The topic is about grief today, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm talking about grief because since the beginning of this year, I have been to almost a funeral a month. And everybody in the funeral is not get the misconception that everybody is a certain age or something. No, these are different age groups pretty much across, almost any age group. It can be any age group. But the point is that person passed away for, it could be circumstances beyond their control. It can be due to an illness. It can be due to an accident, whatever the case may be. And sometimes it's due to none of that. It's just in their sleep. they've gone to sleep, and for some reason they pass on. So I want to talk about it because for some of you know, some of you don't know, I was widowed at 35. So at 35 years old with three children, I had lost my husband, passed away suddenly from as they call widowmaker, a massive heart attack. I did not even understand what I was going through, faced with, that I had just gone through a trauma. I knew nothing. At the time, I was, as I mentioned, 35. My mother and father were both living. All of my sisters and brothers were living. My cousins were living. Everybody was, so everyone near me to that would be in my circle, you could say, was living. So I did not have a real example of what that really meant. The person that near me had passed years and years earlier was my grandfather. But since then, I had not really experienced death. Truthfully, not anybody near me, not anybody close to me until my late husband passed. That was such a shock, and I'm saying that because um, you, I'm to explain what I went through. I can't explain. I can only use my what I went through as an example because we think this is what I thought. I thought I could handle almost anything until it happened to me. Then all of a sudden I couldn't handle anything. So think about this. I went from I thought I could handle pretty much everything to I couldn't handle anything. I was a basket case. I truly was a basket case. That's the truth. I lost like close to 30 pounds in 10 days. It was I wouldn't eat. It was crazy. So I look back now, it's a wonder I'm even alive because it was the doctor, they had taken me to the hospital. They had told me I was trying to commit suicide. Now I didn't think I was. I didn't know. I just stopped eating. I stopped eating and stopped drinking. And what I learned, obviously, is that you stop doing that, you're gonna die. You can't. Your body can't sustain that. It was unsustainable. So I didn't know that at the time. I didn't even know that I was trying to do anything. That all I knew is I was hurting. I was in pain. That's all I knew. That pretty much was it. I didn't even understand the pain. And I'm saying that because we grief is so scary because people have died when they're grieving other people. In that midst of that grief, that person dies because they're so grief stricken. They're so um, full of I want to say I guess you could say love for that person. I can't call the actor's name. Some of you guys may remember the actor. His son died and he committed suicide. I don't know if you remember this. I don't remember his name actually. I want to say Christopher or something like that, but I can't call his name. I just remember seeing him. But I remember when I heard his son died, and then I heard he committed suicide. Now I don't know I don't know what happened with the son's death with that loss. I have no idea, but I do know that when think about it, um, when his committing suicide did not bring the son back, but what he really did was show his pain was so deep he couldn't imagine living anymore, and that's what led to his death. Is that he did not have a desire to live anymore. So I'm saying that because I'm going to go through there's 5 stages of grief, and I wanted to talk with you guys about that. If you've ever felt these things, this is what I would tell anybody. First, I would tell you before even going to the stages of what they are, is get help. It's get help. I know I went to my doctor, and my doctor gave me a prescription, but he said everything I'm giving you is highly addictive. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to take that. All I kept thinking was, you're going to get me hooked on these drugs, and then now I can't get off of them, and I'm crazy, or I don't know. But I look back, and I probably should have taken them, but I was so afraid to even try them. So I think I didn't understand there was a chemical imbalance going on in my body. I was just it was so off whack everything. Well, one thing my doctor said to me too, then he said, what you just experienced is like cutting off one of your legs and saying, go walk. That's what you just experienced. That's how traumatic, because that was because I had lost someone near to me. Had it been, let's say it had been a cousin or somebody else, I probably wouldn't have felt like that. But because it was someone near to me, um, that I would highly recommend you get help. And no one really gave me that advice. I was pretty much truly on my own at that time. I do remember they tried to give me an off work order for a year, and I said, I can't do that. And he said, why? I said, because I need to be busy. I need to. Now, I don't know. If I look back, maybe I should have taken that off work order for a year. I don't know. I just remember thinking, I don't think I can be off work. At that time, I was like right in the middle of my career, working, and all those kind of things. But he did give it to me. He said, you can be off work for a year for what you've just gone through. You don't, he was trying to tell me, you don't even know what you've gone through. That's what, and that now I look back, he was 100% right about that. Oh, okay. I just see. Let me put our comments up at the end. First of all, we have our wonderful niece, Jazzy. Hello, Jazzy. Always good to see you. Jazzy's in Atlanta. And then she says, oh, thank you. Sorry for, oh, thank you, sweetheart. It's been years ago, but I talk about it because lately people have been losing people close to them. And so I want them to know that other people have felt the same thing. Oh, this is always says, hi, repeat audience and new followers. Welcome to the show. Yeah, hi, babe. And he's in the background. Did I see? I thought I saw Victoria. So, and I really wanted to. Oh, there is Victoria. I thought I saw you, Victoria. There she is. Hi, Victoria. Always good to see you. Always. It's always. We have to get together. We haven't seen each other probably in over a year now, so we have to get together. Maybe do lunch sometime. Okay. So I wanted. Oh, and then Jesse. You left a comment. You said, it hurts when you lose someone very special in your life, and it sometimes takes a long time to find your way back. As long as you pray and ask for help to find your way back to on your feet. You're right, Jazzy. You are so right. I was single, and I haven't even talked about that for over almost 15 years. I just couldn't. I didn't even want to do anything. I was so, like I said, distraught. And I had three kids to raise. You have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, there was three boys that needed me more than anything. So that was really important to me. Peyton, Bradley, and Justin. Those of you that know the children, and they're all grown now. They're all in their 40s. I can't believe they're in their 40s. I'm like, wow. I remember when I was their age. Can you believe that? When they say time waits for no one, this is a good example. Time waits for no one. But I wanted to go over the stages with you, because the very first stage that you go through, and you can write these down. Those of you that it may not be something you need right this second, but you may know someone who's grief stricken. I wish someone could have talked to the gentleman, the actor I was telling you about, before he took his life. I don't know how he did that, because I understand the pain he was in, but not enough to leave here. But I've been in pain. I do understand it. I do see why people do it. I just pray I never go to those depths, but I do understand it. Pain is something you can't even fathom when you're in it. And you just, all you want is something to take the pain away. So that's what he really wanted. He really wanted somebody to take the pain away, or something to take the pain away. And he felt like if he just went to sleep and didn't wake up, that would do it. I understand it, unfortunately. But the very first step, let me tell you all, is denial. I think the first step is denial. This was, I think, is because this is what I think. I think that's God's way of protecting us. That's what I think. I think denial is really a way of our mind comprehending this. So and then you got to remember, when you lose someone, you start looking at your own life. You start looking at your life, and you start thinking, what if today had been my last day? What if, have I done everything I wanted to do if today was if this was the last day I'd be on earth? And this is how I describe it. I try to do, and I'm sitting here, forgot to silence my phone. That before I always say, before I leave earth. That's how I say it. Before I leave earth, these are things I want to do or have done. I've been really, really blessed to have done many of the things I wanted to do. But I'm sure there's other ones. There's other, other things that, now traveling, we didn't, I just started traveling again in the last 2 months. Well, as far as traveling on like cruises and things like that, we were traveling, but we were going to see our grandchildren that live on the East Coast. For the most part, they do. Most of them live in New Jersey, or we have a granddaughter in Atlanta. She's in Savannah, Georgia now. So it's just, we would go see them. So that would, and it was too many of them to come here, to come out to the West Coast. So we've spent the last 10 years, that's pretty much, that was our vacation. We didn't really go any, like a cruise, and we're just now starting to cruise again after 10 years. And that we just went on one about a month ago. Now we're going on another one. That's been it. I know I just talked to a friend of mine. She goes, you mean you have not cruised? And I said, and I'm a travel agent. Think about that. But I didn't, because it was all about the grandchildren. Now they're growing up and they're coming to see us, which is like, wow. To have your grandchildren come see you, it is, I don't even know how to say how special that is, because it's just that special for them to say, we're going to come see you. We're going to come to spend some time with you. And many of you know, one of our granddaughters came about 2 months ago. She was here for a couple of weeks. And I think now the whole family's coming out. So it's the three of them. It's her sister, and her brother, and her mother and father. They're all coming. So it's been very interesting. But let me get back to the 5 stages of grief. As you guys know, I talk, I think you guys are used to it now, but all around. The first one is denial. The first stage of grief, in the stages of grief, is denial. It's refusing to acknowledge the reality of the death or avoiding the conversation. Like I said, I think that's God's way of protecting us. But it's not that we don't know it. We just don't want to face it. That's what I think it is. I really do think it is that. So just as you go through these stages in your own life, if you've ever experienced the death of someone close to you, if you haven't, that's good. Unfortunately, I have, with mother, father, and 2 brothers have passed away. That in itself has been, the deaths were not close to each other, which is good, except for my brother and my mother. My youngest brother passed away. 90 days later, my mother passed away. And they passed away to the day. Think about how close that is. One passed away November 4th of 2015, and my mother was February 4th of 2016. So they were the closest. But normally it's years in between the loss. But the very first step is to deny it even happened. To deny it. It has taken me until, truthfully, I'm going to say, honestly, probably, I'd say till recently. Remember, my mother passed in 2016. It's only taken me till now, which is 2026, to even, I think, to get to acceptance, which is going to be the last one, by the way. It's taken me that long to get to acceptance. So when people tell me about the loss of a loved one, I already know it's a long road. I have not met many people that everything happened very quickly. They went through denial. They went through, and I'll tell you the next 4 steps. They went through all of them quickly and just hurried up and got through. No, because that person's life, you were, if you were close to them, let me say that, if you had any kind of emotional attachment to them, then their death profoundly will affect you. And I can't imagine why it wouldn't if you were close to them. And sometimes it's so sudden until you don't even have a chance. It's almost like you can't even catch your breath. Um, with my mother and my brother, my brother passed from a brain aneurysm, and then 90 days later, my mother passed. It was just like I think I couldn't even, honestly, I could not really grieve my brother because I started being a caregiver for my mother. So it was so sudden. I went from one death to another death, and it was like, wow. So so my whole life changed in 90 days. Two people that were very important to me, gone. So it's not easy. It's just not easy. So the one thing I would tell anybody, even though whatever stage you're in, let me say this: whatever the stage you're in, always eat, because that's the one thing we forget to do, and always drink water because you have to stay hydrated. I did not do that. Let me say that I did not do that, and because I didn't do it, they had to take me to the hospital. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't eating. I did not know I was in shock. Now, some of you understand all this. You maybe have lived through it, or you know someone who has. I didn't know it. I didn't even know what shock was. Think about, I'm in it. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what I was experiencing. I didn't even know that this is shock because I wouldn't eat and I wouldn't drink. And like as I was saying, the gentleman that committed suicide, I can almost guarantee he probably didn't even know he was suicidal. He probably didn't even know he was, but he was. The doctors actually said to me, "You are suicidal. You just don't know it." And I'm like, he said, "Your life is at stake. When you lose someone," think about what he's saying. I was 35, and he said, "I know it doesn't look like it, it doesn't seem like it, but if you don't get it together, you're going to be laying right there next to your husband because you're not eating and you're not drinking and you're trying to commit suicide, though it doesn't look like it." He said, "I've seen it happen." And he said, and it doesn't matter that you're 35. None of that matters. What matters is you're going to have to start eating. That's why I said that when whatever stage you're in, you have to eat and you have to drink, or your body can't take it. I could have, in the midst of all the stuff I was going through, I could have very easily had a heart attack, very easily. But I just thank God it didn't happen. But I was in such a state. It could have happened. It could have been. There was nothing to prevent it, if you be honest, except God. But I was so distraught until those kind of things are very real. People have heard. Think about how powerful what someone said. People have heard that somebody died and they had a heart attack and died. Think about it. They heard it, not saw anything, not witnessed anything. They heard somebody died, heard the words that their loved one died, and they had a heart attack. They stopped their own heart by just hearing it. So I would tell you, this is how dangerous it is. It's a very sensitive topic and a very dangerous one. I know when my mom, my mother's sister, was my aunt, who was really like a mother to me, truthfully. And when she passed, and my mother was out of state, and I called and I was telling her. But let me digress first. After we lost one of my brothers, and we were after the services and everything had kind of calmed down, I said, "Mom, you can't do that again." She said, "Do what?" I said, You went into such a state of shock, you could have had a heart attack." And she said, "Are you serious? I could have had a heart attack." I said, you can stop your heart. I know it doesn't seem like it, but you can. The shock of it can stop your heart from beating. We don't look at, I know years ago I saw ultrasound of my heart, and the man was doing an ultrasound. He goes, "You never seen your heart?" I looked at him, I said, "Now tell me when I would have seen my heart beat." I want to know when I would have seen that, because he was acting like that's something I'm going to see every day. But the point of it is, ladies and gentlemen, you can stop your own heart from beating. You can do it. I know it doesn't seem like it, but your grief, your not being able to being able to deal with it can stop your heart, and you have a heart attack and die. It's been known to happen. So the hardest part is keeping your emotions intact, because you are feeling so out of it, so crazy, until you're just like, just trying to make sense of this. And the truth is you can't. And there is no making sense of it. When my mother called me, when my brother passed away, and she called, this is the truth. I didn't even know what language she was speaking. I didn't even know. I was like, I was on the phone. I knew, all I heard was Junior died. That's all I heard. I hear nothing. I remember thinking, what is, that's it. I didn't hear anything else she said. It was like she was speaking another language, because she was in shock. And that's what shock does to you. It makes you're out of your mind and don't even know you're out of your mind. You don't even know it. And that's what I told her when later on, when everything settled down, and I explained to her, I said, you can't lose it like that again, Mom. And so it was years later when I told her my aunt, just her sister had passed. I said, "Mom, are you sitting down? Are you calm?" Because nobody was with her at the time I was saying. I'm trying to think, I think maybe my uncle was, I can't remember. But I said, "I need you to be calm." She goes, "No, I'm calm." I said, "Well, we lost my aunt." I said, "Are you okay?" She goes, "I'm okay. I'm okay." Because she remembered what I said. You can't be, don't lose it. You lose it too much and you're going to be laying next to him. So that's why I'm saying this to somebody who may say, "Oh, I'll never do that. I'll never be." Have you seen people yelling and screaming and all? And I'm not saying not to get grief. That's grief also too. But you can only do so much of that before your body will stop. And they'll say, "You know what? That's it." It's like your heart can't take it. Because we all heard of somebody dying of a broken heart. That's a real thing. That's not something people have made up. A broken heart is a real thing. So don't think it can't happen. I think, ladies and gentlemen, how many of us think it can't happen to me? Don't we think like that? Oh, it's gonna happen to somebody, but this ain't gonna happen to me. I have come to terms. If it can happen to somebody, it's gonna happen to me. Okay, this is Jazzy. She said, as well, it matters that you lost of who you lost, because you realize all the things you could have said and did with each other, and now it's too late. Think about it. That's real, Jazzy. All you can do right now is it says, is that kiss them right now? Is them right there next to you. What it does, it's too late. There's two things you get from that, Jazzy. You know it's too late, and you also know your day is coming. Your day is coming, whether people admit it or not. Oh, it can. Okay, I see what you said. Thank you, sweetheart. Whether we admit it, whether we say it, whether we don't say it, whether we admit it, whether we don't admit it, our day is coming. And we don't. And the thing of it is, thank God we don't know the day nor the hour. I'm glad. Aren't you glad you don't know the day or the hour? Nobody does. Thank God we don't know. I don't know how. I wonder who would we be if we did know. I wonder. What if you knew? What if you knew? Oh, how would you live life differently if you knew? I wonder. I don't know. But let's go to the next. Because as we said, the first step is denial. Woo! Now, the next step is anger. Anger. When a person starts to accept the reality of death, they may feel angry towards themselves or others, and they may blame others. Think about now you're mad, and usually you're mad at the world. It may not even be a person. You're just mad because why did it happen to me? Why is that my husband is gone, or my boyfriend, or my wife, or my daughter, or my son, or excuse me, why? Why me? Why me? Everybody else's, family is intact. Remember, I said 30, I was 35. I had the why me? Why am I a widow at 35? Why? And other people are just getting married, and I'm a widow. It was unbelievable for me. Now, I have met people since that time. They were widowed in their 20s. Think about that. 21, 22. They got married, and now they were widowed due to a car accident, due to some type of something happened. I think one was a drowning. They didn't have anything to do with that. So you just like the gentleman, what's the man from the Bill Cosby show? Was he drowned? From what it sounded like, saving his daughter's life. So we don't know. We think we know though, don't we? Isn't there part of us that thinks, oh, that's not going to happen to me. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. We don't know, but we do know that, like I said before, what's the very first step? We deny that anything. Think about it. We act like nothing even happened. But as I said before, I think that's the angels. I think that's God and the angels protecting us until we can absorb it. It takes a while. And then once you absorb it, then what do? You start getting angry. You start getting mad at why happened to me? It didn't happen to so-and-so. They're a mean person. Why it didn't happen to me? So that's real. Next is bargaining. Bargaining. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen. Bargaining. This stage of the stages of grief involves trying to negotiate or bargain your way out of the situation. Think about what this is saying. Bargaining. Well, why is it you start really, and this is all of these steps are very real. Like God knows I know. This might involve wishing you had been there for a loved one, one more, feeling that you might have been in a different situation had you seen the doctor sooner, or even praying for a different outcome. This weekend, I saw the funeral for, now I can't call his name. He was a rapper, and anyway, at the service, the pastor preached and said that his widow. I just happen to know her, but he said, or she's had him share with everyone, he did not go to the doctor. He didn't like doctors. Think about this. He was 59. Now I can't think of the man's name. It'll come to me. His name. Maybe I shouldn't use his name, so I'll just use that. Anyway, the point is this. For the pastor to say this, he was really telling everyone in the congregation, I was watching it on video, he may have been here had he been to the doctor. Now, we don't know that, but that's where the bargaining comes in. What if he had just gone to the doctor? What if he had just done this? What if you had done that? Don't we do that? You start as if anything we say today will bring the person back. Anything. And you want something that you say to bring them back. You don't want to lose that person's love, which I believe love is eternal. I don't think that ends anyway. But the point is, you want them you want them to remain. You want them to be here. Period. At all costs. So you start bargaining for a difference, something to change, something to be different, something that we would have a different outcome. Though the outcome it's already come. It's already here. You can't go back and go get a different outcome. You may want to do that, but that's the bargaining. But I didn't get a chance to say this, and we didn't get a chance to go there. We didn't get a chance to do this. I think I've shared with you guys that this really did happen. I always say that. My niece says, "Why do you say that?" Well, anyway, I do. This is I share this with you because I was there, and so anyway, long story. Let me tell you this story. And this is not about the stages as it is. This really happened. A lady retired just like this past Friday. She retired from her job, and she saved. I think I shared with you guys this story. It's all true story. She had saved $500,000, and I met her on that Sunday. So she retired Friday. I met her on Sunday at a friend's house, and we were just all having, I think it was like brunch at her house, just on a Sunday afternoon. Then, the lady couldn't sit still. She was sitting in between. I was sitting on one side of the sofa. She was sitting in the middle, and the friend's house we were over was on the other side. And I asked her, I said, "Is everything okay?" Because she literally was doing this. She was just, I was like, "Is everything all right?" Because it was just kind of bouncing around. And she said, "No, everything's fine. But I'm so excited." I said, "Okay, I'm happy for you. Whatever you." This is what I believe, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't even know what she was going to say. But if God will do it for her, he'll do it for me. She said, "I have saved up $500,000. And I'm sitting up here, I'm listening to her. She said, "And now," she said, "I retired on Friday." So just a couple, just the day before, basically. I retired on Friday. And I even remember looking at the lady. She didn't even look that old to me, but old enough to retire. But anyway, long story short, I just retired on Friday. I saved up $500,000. And guess what? I said, "What?" I'm thinking, I don't know what to think she's going to say. "I am going on a cruise." I sat there and I was like, I didn't know what to say. Because I'm like, at that time, I had been on at least 5. So, and I did not have $500,000 in the bank. I promise you I did. I sat there and I thought, wait a minute. I don't even think I have $500 to my name. And I'm sitting here going, wow, $500,000 and you haven't been on a cruise? And so I said, "Well, how much do you think a cruise costs?" And she goes, "I don't know, but it must cost a lot of money." The way I was like, okay. And then I said, "They're not that expensive." She goes, "What is it? What does it cost?" And I said, I think I said $1,000. The lady, you would have thought I had said it cost 50 cents. She goes, "What? That's it?" And I said, "Pretty much." I said, "Yeah, it's really less than that, if you be honest, depending on where you're going. But if you're going, for about 7 days," I said, it's at least five, let's say 500 to 1,000. I was sitting there. I was like, it's not that much. I told her right then and there. I said, it really is very reasonable for what you get. You get your food, you get your entertainment, this, that, and the other. It's very affordable. She said, the lady was in shock. She said, "Is that all it costs?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, but I did put the caveat. It depends on where you want to go. It depends on what you want to do. That it's affordable. Let me just say that. It's you can do it. And so that we left, everybody went home. That Wednesday, I got a call. Remember, it was the 3 of us. The ladies whose home we were at called me. And she said, "Mary, do you remember the lady you spoke to on Sunday?" I said, "The $500,000. Because I can't remember the lady's name. She said, yes. She said, Mary, she passed this morning. I went into shock. I said, what? In fact, I'm going to tell you how much shock I went. I dropped the phone because it was so. Didn't I just see this lady on Sunday? How could she be gone? And this is Wednesday. So she just told me she retired Friday. And this is Wednesday. Not even a full week. And the lady was gone. Never got a cruise. Because she said, every single day I would eat lunch. I would bring my lunch to work and eat at my desk. Everybody else would go out to lunch and they would have a good time. And she said, I just sat at my desk and ate my lunch. And saved probably like $10, maybe $15 a day. And she said, this is what she had told me on that Sunday. She goes, I just saved my money. I made sure I didn't spend a lot. I didn't go. And think about this. Think about all the things she could have been doing with her time and with her money. And now that Wednesday, she was gone. And I'm saying this to say, when I'm going through the steps, ladies and gentlemen, live your life. Live your life. I'm not saying not to save money. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying if you can do things, don't put it off till tomorrow to do and say, oh, I'll do that next year. How many people don't say? I've heard them say it. And I think, what if next year doesn't come? So I'm saying to you, live your life as I go through these steps. Okay, because don't think and as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. I don't want you I want you not to understand that. I've been talking to both of us, so kind of getting the same message at the same time. Okay, and Jazzy says, you show anger to everyone in your life because you show anger because you are holding the pain deep down in your heart. Tell it, Jazzy, for the one you lost, all you can do is think positive thoughts to help keep everyone else in your life happy. Jazzy, tell the truth. We do that, but I don't want to sound like you can't ever let it out to a certain extent. I think you just have to know how to, and I'm no authority on that, so I don't want to say that. But I do know you have to do it in a way that's not going to hurt you. Like I said, 2 instances. The person heard that the person died and they died. 2. He said, she saved all that money. I need to learn her money habits. Well, I can tell you, the one she shared with me, that's a couple of them she shared that day. That day. She never went on vacation, Victoria. Never. So Dr. Victoria. She never went on a vacation. Think about what I'm saying. And she ate her lunch at her desk every single day. Ouch. And she passed. There has to be a balance in this because it wasn't that she didn't have the money. She didn't have the knowledge. Think about what happened, really. She didn't know. She did not know that for $1,000, she could have been on a cruise ship. And honestly, for less than that, I'm going to be honest, you can go for a lot less than that. I'm just using that as a number, but depending on where you're going, you can go for a lot less than that. And if you depend on the cabin that you have, those or stateroom. But the point is, she was making a choice to, and I think the fact. Okay, let me say this: the fact that she shared with me when she shared that she didn't go to lunch every day. She said this herself: I did not go to lunch. I saved money. I didn't buy a lot of clothes. She said herself. I'm gonna tell you how she did it. She had very minimal of everything. So she must have been a minimalist. Anybody heard of minimalist? They have minimal. Let's say she had 7 pieces of clothes. I'm just guessing, but very minimal. She just said she did not spend money on clothes, on shoes, on trips. I'd probably be a millionaire if I didn't do it. If I be honest, I'm just saying. She said she didn't spend money. She didn't go on trips. She didn't do any of that. So, but I'm saying this to say, Life is for living. I'm not saying she shouldn't have done that. That was her choice, but she failed to do the one thing that would have given her pleasure, I guess, and that was that cruise. She never got that cruise. Remember, I met her on a Sunday. She passed on Wednesday. She had just retired on Friday. That's a shock to anybody. I can only imagine the people in her job saying that, because I've heard of these stories more than I care to acknowledge. When I was retiring, they told us, if you go home and you sit home with that remote control, you're gonna die. It was like, just so you know, if that's your goal, to go home with the remote control, that's like you're gonna be dead in that chair with the remote control. You have to get up and move around and be involved with life. You can't just be there and not be involved with life. If you do, you're not gonna survive it. You can't keep going on like that. But I'm saying these things because, number one, I've lived them. But really, to get to, so you know that if you're feeling these things, they're real. Every single step is real. Don't ever think it's just, so I'm just saying it to be saying it. I'm saying it because you may say, well, everybody in my family is fine, well, healthy and everything. I'm happy for you. Somebody's going to leave. Let me just say that. I don't know who the somebody is, but I know this world. And someone will pass away. You have to understand how to navigate that. And that's why I'm giving you these tools today, that you navigate that. That's all. Okay? Because, and you may say, well, or maybe you don't need to. Some people are better at this than others. If you don't need these steps and you're fine and all those things, that's fine, well and good. Somebody is going to need them. I do know that. Because the man, I think it was the man Christopherson. I can't remember the man's name, the one that committed suicide. Maybe if he understood where he was and got the help that he needed, that man may still be alive. I don't know. But I doubt that he would have committed suicide if he only knew. Because he was probably in depression. It's what I'm thinking. And it envelops you. So let me go. The fourth step is depression. Thought of as a way to avoid the pain of loss, depression sets in with symptoms: a lack of energy, despair, feelings of sadness and hopelessness that often accompany grief and loss. I think of all of the steps, this is where people get stuck. That's what I think. I think depression is where a lot of people get stuck. I was stuck for a long time in depression. And I was in the poor me place. And some of you may understand the poor me place. Some of you may not. Poor me is, like I said before, why me? Why, as if why not me? It took me years to realize to just say that. Why not me? Why not you? Why do you think it can't happen to you and it can happen to other people? It can happen to you just like it. And then the reality hit me. It could have been you. It took years to come there to get to that point. It could have been you. Years. So I would tell you, all of these steps are very, very real. All of these steps can lead down that path of, they can be good. Let me say that to you. They can be good, but they can be negative depending on where you are with it. But for some of you, I say good in that if you know what they are. This is what I think. I didn't know what they were. Let me say this to all of you. I didn't know. So I didn't even know what I was going through, when I was going through it. I didn't know any. There was no roadmap of any of this for me. The blessing is that suicide was not on my list. That was the blessing for me. That was not even, I don't think there was even a thought of that. I can't recall. No, I don't think it was. So me leaving was not something I even considered. Not at all. Even though I was just enveloped in pain. Even that was just like, how do you let go of that pain? I didn't even know how to do that. Um, but as time went on, I just focused on other things. So, but that made a difference too. So now we're to the one last. Okay, thank you. I'm seeing your comments, Jazzy. Where are you? Uh, you want to learn her money habits? Yeah, she passed, Victoria. Dr. Victoria, that was such a shock to me when I heard that, to be honest with you. I look, remember I said that I literally dropped the phone because it was like, wait a minute. I was speaking with this lady Sunday and this is Wednesday and she's gone. It was like, is this for real? And she actually had, I think I shared with you, a brain aneurysm. She had an aneurysm that Wednesday. That's truly painful for all those in your life. Yes, it is. So hopefully, and I didn't even add this when on my notes, but I'm gonna add this anyway. Just make sure you have, ladies and gentlemen, have your affairs in order because nobody knows. Nobody knows. So just have your affairs in order. That's all I would ask, that you do that. Not that any of it applies to me personally, but just for your family is what it amounts to. Um, yes, Jesse, when you are depressed, it changes things in your life. It actually, they've done tests, your body chemistry changes under depression. Your body, think about this, your body chemistry changes when you're depressed. That's how much depression can affect you. And I don't have to tell you guys this, but depression is so, it can lead to, um, 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 so it can lead to suicide. As I said before, when I told you about the gentleman, it can lead to, you can start having physical illnesses. You can have mental illness from depression. Depression is um, what can I say? Not just painful. It can lead to so many negative things in your life. That's why I was saying that about, I was depressed, but I refused to take the medication. But I probably, if when I look back, if I really be honest, I probably should have taken it. I should have taken the medication. That's the truth of the matter. But I was so afraid that they were trying to get me hooked on drugs. I didn't understand that there was a chemical imbalance going on in my brain, in my mind, in my body, everything. I didn't get that part. I just heard drugs. So I was scared. But it could have been a good thing, and I just didn't know it. I didn't know. So just keep that in mind too. Okay. I went to go over the very last. Dun, da, da, da. Here we are, the very last of the 5 stages. When it is called acceptance. When people no longer protest or struggle with death or grief, they have finally reached acceptance, coming to terms with the reality of loss. Acceptance is a really good place to be, honestly. But it's not easy to get there. Well, I'm going to speak for me. It wasn't easy for me to get there. Now, other people may get there quicker, I'm sure. I just couldn't get there quicker. I think I was in this, I'm going to call it la la land of, remember I said that? The poor me stuff. That was the la la land stuff for me. Some people, they get there quicker. They figure they're like, you know what? I can't undo this. I can't do anything about it. And they get to acceptance and they go on with their life. That's very real. It took me a lot longer. So I'm going to speak for me. Even when the lady passed, I call it the $500,000 lady. I still don't know that lady's name, by the way. It was, I felt that lady's passing because I knew of things she wanted to do. That's why I felt her passing so strongly. I knew about her. I knew about her desire to do things, and now that desire was no longer an option. And when she could have done it, She thought she was doing the right thing by waiting. I was speaking just today with a young lady who is a close friend of mine, and I don't think she's on today. I'm not going to call her name, but I don't think she's here. But anyway, and we were talking about going on trips, and she told me, she said her and her daughter they go on trips every year. They go on one, and I thought about who will her daughter be when she grows up and she's been to all these places. Who will she be? She will be world traveler. She will have been to places people only dream of because her mother gave her that, gave her the ability to travel and go places and do things and not feel confined and say she already has a passport and she's only 4. She has her own passport at 4. She can travel the world. I know adults that don't have passports. And it's not that they can't get it. You have to have a desire to make the world your oyster. Her mother has already said, every single year we will go somewhere. That is just how it is. That's how we live. That's how, and not that they're, you may say, oh, they must have a lot of money. The reality is, I think they're like everybody else. Oh, here you go, Jazzy. But they just made decision. It's truly hard for some people to accept when they lose someone because the love you have for them. That's right, Jesse. It's hard. Acceptance, it's not. I think we're gonna get to acceptance quicker, but no. Acceptance is one of the hardest things to get to accept that person is gone. So just know, if you think that you're gonna get there fast, the chances are no. Because especially if someone near you, if it's a husband or wife, how many times have you heard stories? I mean, I have. I don't know if you have, where their clothes are still in the closet years later, after they pass. The person has never removed their clothes out of the closet, or they still put a plate where that person used to sit when they set the table, or they do things that as if that person is still alive. That's because they are alive in their heart. As far as their heart's concerned, they're alive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this helped someone. It wasn't the best topic, but I'm hoping that for somebody, it was something they either could use or needed or could pass on to somebody that they know and love. But we will be back next week with another topic, but we'll be back in a week. I want to tell you, thank you for stopping by. The Mary D Show is always live. It is never recorded. Well, it's recorded once it goes up on YouTube and Facebook and everything else. But when you're watching me live. So God bless each and every one of you. Oh, thank you, Jazzy. He said, oh, and this is another and this is from Linda. I encourage young adults to be citizens of the world, not just their neighborhood. Go travel. Thank you, Linda. It changes how you look in life. And maybe I'll do a travel. I should. About the things you need when you travel and how to respect other people's countries. Because sometimes we think we're traveling, we act like we're in the United States and we're not. So anyway, we'll talk about that. God bless you. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.